Hello and welcome back to the Moebius Chronicles. Today we are going to take a look at the legendary 40 Days in Desert B. What it is, how it came to be, what it represents, and the symbolism hiding behind this beloved book and its drawings. And before I start, let me say that I know very well that over the years there have been several YouTube videos dedicated to this book. But usually they simply look at the art and the details, which are of course amazing. But I yet have to find one that actually looks beyond this. So today we'll be doing exactly that. For this video I have the fourth French edition of the book. It only came out in French so far, but again, it's only drawings and some text, so there's not a lot to translate here. It is a tiny landscape format hardcover, but don't be fooled. It is truly rich in details, despite its size. I'd say it's a bit like an onion, where with each reading more and more is revealed. And of course, you could just read it and reread it without any reference nor context and still enjoy every bit of it. But the reasons behind why it came to be really do matter here. The birth of this book stems mainly from a single turning point in Moebius' life, when, in 1999, he decided to stop smoking weed. Something that, together with other recreational drugs, he had been doing on and off for many years. Something which had helped him in releasing the barriers of his creativity. But eventually, he decided to quit for good, and, as a way to process this and to liberate himself from this dependency, he created this book where, placing himself as a shaman in the desert, he lets the images of temptation come to him as he hopes to resist them and to come out on the other side of this journey transformed. And let us bear in mind that transformation and metamorphosis is a recurrent theme, if not the theme, in his work and in his life. As Moebius used his art as a way to explore his being and shed light into the corners of his inner self. And this book takes that intention to the extremes. So now we have context and motive. But in 40 Days, he does not just give us a statement to accompany his art. He also gives us a key to read it. And in fact, he gives us two. And to find them, we need to look at the title itself. The first key is in the 40 days, which is a reference to the number of days and nights that Christ is said to have spent fasting in the desert while resisting temptation. But here we have no Christ. We have the artist himself, who is about to be put to the test, facing an inner struggle that, if victorious, will leave him transformed and ready to face a new chapter in his life. The second key is the Desert Bee, which comes from a clever play of words. In French, and pardon my pronunciation here, the word herbe means grass, but also means weed, both the smoking kind and the one which grows in your backyard. So Moebius takes the French word désert, which literally translates to dig grass. And in more practical terms, this is the practice of pulling weeds out of the ground, or weeding, as you say in English. But in this case, he is the backyard, as he turns this weed removal from his own life into the title itself. And of course, purely from a sound perspective, the word désert sounds very much like desert bee, basically making it 40 days of quitting weed. Smart, right? And as we said, weed is something that has accompanied Moebius for many years. Trying it for the first time at the age of 17 in the late 1950s during his first visit to Mexico to see his mother, and then more regularly in the 1970s, where its use allowed him to discover the main principles of what is called automatic drawing. As he himself said during a 1974 interview, I found out a lot about blueberry thanks to weed. I never smoke when it's hard, when things are going badly. I smoke when things are going well. Lighting up with the intention of brainstorming new ideas or getting unstuck is never a good idea. You can actually harness the power of weed. It is a very strange technique, very secret, specific to each individual. You have to listen to what the weed has to tell you and stop thinking of it as a drug. It is a friend. It's not that powerful. It is more of a gentle ally. And keep the ally word in mind, because this quote connects directly to one of Moebius's biggest influences, the works of Carlos Castaneda, who he also discovered in his youth. And for who does not know Castaneda, he wrote a lot of books from the 1960s to the 1990s around his experiences and training with shamanism in Mexico under the teachings of Don Juan Matus. Teachings which included the use of peyote, or as his teacher called it, mezcalito, and of the datura plant, also called Jimson weed. And Castaneda describes how these plants are the portal to harnessing the allies who live within them, allies that, when tapped into correctly, help you guide you on your spiritual path. Another character of this book is the desert itself, and specifically the Mexican desert, the one he had a chance to cross in his youth and which has since then been playing an almost leading role in his works from the blueberry days onwards. The fascinating impressions he collected there, the flat plain, the brilliant sunshine, the endless blue and hot white sky, had a catalytic effect and permanently changed Moebius. The landscape's strange surreal play of light and form would continue to inspire him over the following decades. And as he himself said, "I adore these scorched and infinite spaces, speckled with evenly spaced clawed brushes, cacti and boulders with an unlikely, almost organic architecture. Moreover, the desert is the place where biblical ritual meditation takes place, as well as the backdrop of the bewitched adventures of Carlos Castaneda." And here we go, full circle, back to Castaneda. I think the ultimate goal of the one who meditates is to try and shrink the ordinary reality in which we all swim and turn it into a virtual desert from which visions can spring to life. So back to the book then. What we are presented with then is a journey of 40 days and 73 pages, where the so-called art shaman returns to the desert bee to meditate and to challenge the weed demon. Almost exactly like in the ending of the first Castaneda book, The Teachings of Don Juan, where Castaneda's soul is trapped by a diablera, a shapeshifter sorceress, and he has to sit in a specific spot outside of his teacher's house to face her and win his soul back as she attempts to trick him, taking the shape of his master and doing all she can to get him to move from his specific sitting spot, the only place where he is protected. And quoting Isabelle Giraud, in these pages, the scene is created, deconstructed, and then rebuilt before our eyes, supported by the frantic rhythm of Toto le Totem, the demonic instigator, which is the manifestation of all temptations. And despite its title, this work is not a visual representation of the gospel texts it references to. Instead, Moebius takes this biblical theme as a backdrop to then ingeniously slip into the story, not only placing himself in it, but also his interpretation of the characters of John the Baptist, Virgin Mary, and of Lazarus, which in the biblical texts is the one to whom Christ announces that he will be fasting in the desert. He even draws symbols such as the pillars of fire from the book of Exodus and the announcing clouds from the heavens. Through the book, there are desires and temptations more difficult to express. Days longer than others, days so dense that a single drawing contains 8 of them, while sometimes a single day can run over several drawings. Or there might be days which are not at all translated into images. Regardless, the full real estate of each page is exploited and all the possible perspectives are there. Chance is present but kept in check. Each image contains a clue to the previous one and the next one. To conclude, I would like to read another text from Moebius himself where he talks about the process of metamorphosis. I thought it would be a perfect, and segue and ending to this. We are constantly morphing, and it is generally in response to a variety of stimuli, which can be visible or invisible, internal or external. Regardless, they all lead us towards a movement of life, a physical and psychic change. To me, the plastic metamorphosis that runs through my drawings is not a fetish or a graphic discovery. Instead, it mirrors what is constantly happening inside of us. And with his words, we conclude this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. It took me a bit of work to get it together and to get behind, the scenes here. So thank you so much for watching and catch you next time. Bye.